starters, assistant directors का ये life का पहला interview होगा. कोई interview नहीं लेता assistant director का. मतलब thank you.
Yes, Shiv and Akshi, you will be remembered.
Thank you, yaar.
Fantastic. So, Naman and Jiya, in short, please tell the world what is the kind of work and films that you worked on.
So basically, currently I'm an in-house AD with Color Productions, and I've done mostly 4 films with him. To name, I started with Tanvaz Manu Returns. I did Zero. Then I did Shumangal Zada Savdhan, and the recent film I'm working again with him is Atrangire.
So I started working when I was in my 3rd year college. I started interning at a film that was luckily getting shot in Delhi, so I could shuffle between classes and be on set. It was a film Aapko Dekhi. And then I went off to Bombay and I started working on a film called Dam Laga Ke Haisha. And from there, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to work on a film, a Shah Rukh Khan film called Fan. And then I worked on a film called Thugs of Hindustan. And after that, I did a small schedule of a French film. It's called Mr. Le Benner. My French is really bad, but it means the best is yet to come.
So I think your introductions now aside, I want to be the stupid man here and ask you questions. बहुत ही simple सा सवाल सबसे पहले. एक assistant director क्या करता है? किस स्टेज पे इन्वॉल्व होता है और उसकी जरूरत क्यों होती है एक फिल्म सेट पे एक असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर की अगर बिकॉज जहां तक मैं समझता हूँ लोग समझते हैं कि असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर शायद डायरेक्टर के साथ बैठ के डायरेक्ट करता है बिकॉज द वे द नेम इज असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर राइट बट असली उसकी टर्मिनोलॉजी में और उसके रोल में क्या फर्क है व्हाट डज एन असिस्टेंट डायरेक्टर डू
राइट सो सिंस there are, like I explained to you earlier, there are so many departments in a film and there is one director, and it's obvious that whatever the span of time may be, one person cannot be there mentally at every stage of, for example, a set is built or at every stage of like a costume trial. So, and there are limited days sometimes and there is very little time to prep a film. Then the assistant directors become almost secondary to the director for approvals and for a lot of things, and they manage his time and they manage schedules and they manage everybody's time.
Yeah. They're like the bridge between the department, the HODs of the respective departments, and the director.
और ये बनते कैसे हैं? How do you become an AD?
How do you become an AD? There's no particular. I don't think there's a particular finite process to go about how do you become an AD. It's like I'd like to talk about my personal journey, how I got into assistant directing. I actually wanted to become a choreographer because I come from a dance background. So I was actually doing a lot of choreography and dancing when before getting into the industry. And while I was learning the choreography part of it, just to try my hand on it, I switched departments to the direction team and become an assistant director because that is where you're closely associated with the director. You're closely associated with the process of what the filmmaking is. And that is where I actually ended up falling in love with the direction part of it rather than the choreography part of it.
Jiya, how was your journey like?
Okay, so my journey was very simple actually. I did a lot of theatre in college and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life back then. But through college and through theatre and through, acting and directing plays, I realized that I want to tell stories and that's what I want to do. And theatre won't pay me as much. So I said that how else do you tell stories? And you tell stories through films and, what do you do? But then because I had done Aankhon Dekhi and I knew people who were associated with Aankhon Dekhi, lucky enough to, have Dam Laga Ke happen at the same time, I did go to Bombay and I didn't know it back then, but then somehow as luck would have it, I got in touch with them and then, I started working on Dam Laga Ke. And so it's actually, there's no formula of how to become an AD. There never will be. You just have to sort of be connected with people. A lot of people do ask me, if there are any job openings, they've just got out of college, what do they do? And this is specifically for your audience right now, that I always tell people that there are Facebook groups that are very, very, very helpful. It's called Crew Call India. It's called, Film in Bombay. You should join those groups, and and there are so many posts day in and day out that talk about internships and the freshers, and they may or may not pay you, but it's a good start, and because that will lead to a lot of contacts that you can make, and it is all about making contacts. So that's how you can hone your journey, but there is genuinely no formula.
I want to understand, ऐसा हर job profile का एक technical requirement होता है. As an AD, I understand people management, time management, scheduling, etc. Both of you, can you give, for example, some advice to the kids and people who are watching this during this time when the time is little slow? कोई technical skills हैं that our viewers can better equip themselves with? Are there any softwares? Are there any technical skills that ADs should ideally know and they can acquire without being on set? कि set पे जाने से पहले कुछ चीजें आती हैं.
Naman?
Yeah. So basically, there are few softwares. There are few hands-on like audio digital workstations that they can try and put their hands on. One is the basic one is of course the Excel, and there are different formats in Excel when you're making breakdowns. Be it short breakdown, be it your individual departmental breakdowns, which is a costume breakdown, which is an art breakdown. You can definitely do it on Excel. And then there's a thing called movie magic scheduling. It's an MMS thing. It's one of the most, I think, one of the most used softwares in the industry, which is used for scheduling of the film. And then we also have Final Draft, which is purely used for writing purposes, where you see all these script writers are writing their story, the script, and the script is formatted in such a way that that is the standard industry way of writing the script. That is one of the software which we use mainly for writing purposes.
Writers.
Yeah.
I think Naman has covered all of the software, like, basic softwares for an AD to sort of read about, watch YouTube videos, equip yourselves with. But I think on the other side, there is one thing that you will be asked intensively to do if you're starting out is video referencing. So I would say increase your video libraries, watch as many films, the more films you watch, the better understanding you'll get about cinema, about how things are done, and try and dig out old films and classics. And, if you're getting into an action film, then you should know that there will be a lot of action film referencing that you'll have to do. And, and then suddenly you'll have to be all like digging your head and saying, oh my God, where should I get this? But the more expansion of, I'm not saying you'll remember every film you're going to watch, or it's going to ring a bell in your head every time somebody asks you to take out a reference. But if you build a video library, or if you just read about films and, have them in your head, it's going to be a great, great help.
But then if, having said that,
yeah,
you think that formal film training is required, or is this a skill set that you get on the set?
Okay, so I am obviously an advocate of hands-on experience on set, because that's the route I took, and that's the route most people I know took. Also, I do believe that assisting is something that you learn on the job, and you learn, while you're experiencing like a mega mighty production, and you're like a tiny blob in it, and it's overwhelming and it's too much for you, and probably you're young or not. But what you learn on set, I don't think any school can teach you that. But
absolutely correct.
But having said that, education is something also that I advocate for, and there are things that you can learn. But what I can say and what I've seen is that if you have a film degree or an education in film, it doesn't guarantee that you get a job in the industry, because at the end of the day, it's all contact based. And if you have an MA double major fancy New York or LA degree, that doesn't mean anybody's going to hire you. That does not mean that. You will start at the intern level. You will start from the lowest rung of the chain, because what you learn in school is a very protected environment. And even though you learn basics and you know how to sort of hold a film together, but what's there in the real world is absolutely different. It's fast, it's full of stress, nobody has the time, there's a lot of money riding on you and everybody else. So what you learn there is, I think, priceless. And I think if somebody is willing to learn something or trying to be an AD, should not really care about formal education to start with. But later and you know what also can happen, that when you become an AD, like how Naman started, right? Naman wanted to be a choreographer and he found his way into assistant direction. What will happen is that once you probably spend a year as an AD, you'll get better clarity in what actually interests you. Maybe you like art, so you can go and study art after that. Maybe you like costume, or styling, or maybe you like choreography, so you go into dance school. So maybe after getting a basic sense of what serves what, you can actually decide what you want to do with it, and you can actually get education in something like that. So I think that's a better way to go about it.
Naman?
A formal education always helps. I rightly agree with you again. If you have an education, it's just like कि जहाँ पे आप you go without an education, it's like you will take more time to learn than a person who has that education will learn fast and just move the ladder faster than you. But it's not that it will guarantee you a job. But on the other hand, I've also seen, and there have been cases in front of me, people who come with formal training and formal degrees, just like they're given more preference, which is, I think, they're not even in the industry, but it's there in all this phase of whenever you want to work, wherever you want.
Basically, that's in all.
If you have that, that's in all the industry. That when you have that particular thing on paper and you just put it on the table, and you are given preference.
But in schools, what do these schools offer that, for example, something that you would want to take? Now that you've worked in the industry for 4-5 years, would you want to go to a film school, and kya karne jaoge if at all you want to take a degree in film?
See, for me, it's like after working for like 4-5 years in the industry, and if I want to really get and learn something, I would want to learn the art of script writing and screenwriting, because that is something I know that I lack, and I want to probably say work more harder on it, or like work more towards it and understand that part of it. So that is something I lack, and I've learned. I want to write my own stories. I have my stories which I don't know what to start on, how to start it on paper, or just what's the first line I want to start with. I like once upon a time to मैं लिख दूंगा, लेकिन दूसरी line क्या लिखूंगा फिर?
See, there are ways to go about this. I would want to backtrack a little bit here and sort of explain that some people don't want to direct. Some people want to stay ADs as a job profile. Some people are not, driving their lives towards directing. And I know such people. And I think that there is great potential in it. One, because if you become that much experience and you have that, seniority in the industry and the name in the industry, then you're one of the most sought after ADs. And ADs, and especially first ADs who, they actually hold a film together. And I think it's very, very important. If you have 8 characters and all of them are stars and it's a mega film, a director, no matter how great he is, he needs a kick-ass strong first AD to hold the film together.
So now another very important question in, this part of the discussion is that, let's say when someone is starting out this industry, in this industry, the first things that I've heard and people come up to me and also ask me is that, how much does one get paid? What is the salary? What is the financial? Could you both touch upon, for example, with examples from your journey, कि पैसे का क्या problem है, या पैसे का क्या stress है, या growth कैसे होती है?
₹2 मिलेंगे, ₹2. We're ₹2 people. My first paycheck, it wasn't a shock because I knew I was getting that much. But honestly, it didn't matter back then at all. Like I told you, I was treating it as film school. So it's like they were giving me a stipend. The minute you think it's a job, and you will be disappointed because it will not pay you. You need to explain this to your parents that this is school, or this is college, this is an extension, or this is probably my master's, and it's not going to be as expensive as a master would cost you. So they will give you like a pocket money when you're starting out, but that's why it won't pinch you. So yeah, if you go with that approach, my first check paid me 8,000 rupees.
When I started off, I didn't get any money. In fact, and so that I was told that I'm not getting money, nor that I went ahead myself and asked if I'm getting any money, because exactly what Jiya said. This is like a school, and I actually was very much willing, even if I started off late, I was very much willing to give in and put in that much time and effort to first learn the job, to hone that skill, and rather than just thinking about, okay, what will who will pay my bills, how will I pay my bills, how will I pay my travel, how will I pay this. I was more driven towards learning it, honing the skills, so that probably say 6 to 8 months after I've honed the skill, I can stand up and say that, now I know this particular job. This is what I can ask for, and
Sure.
this is what I know I can get. You have to sustain. आपको अपना खर्चा पानी ब्रेड बटर खाना तो खाना ही है, वो चाय पीनी है, वो बनमस का खाना है.
But guys, there's too much free food on sets. Like it doesn't matter.
तो
Too much free food on set.
बन मस्का और चाय तो सेट पे मिल जाता है.
तो एक सेकेंड, तुम स्कूल जा रहे हो, तुम्हें उसकी पॉकेट मनी मिल रही है और फ्री खाना भी मिल रहा है, तुम्हें और क्या चाहिए?
So actually, I think the baseline is कि जो फिल्म के लिए अगर आप मास्टर्स करेंगे जो 2.5-3 साल लेता है, जिसके लिए आप अगर अमेरिका जा रहे हैं तो करीबन 1 करोड़ का खर्चा है, इंडिया जाएंगे तो 15-20 लाख का खर्चा है, FTI टाइप जाएंगे तो सब्सिडाइज्ड है, बट हाँ अगेन वो टाइम बहुत लंबा है. So
और
in
आपको
short,
फ्री खाना भी नहीं मिलेगा.
हाँ, so if I understand you guys correctly, I don't think there is an answer, but you need to look at it like film school.
Yes.
Yes.
But following up, and that is a very simple yes or a no. Do you think in within let's say 2 years, कि अगर किसी पेरेंट को समझना है कि 2 साल का मास्टर्स है, 2 साल मेरे बेटे ने या बेटी ने बॉलीवुड में स्पेंड किया है, क्या 2 साल में do you think one with of course the right approach and right ethics can reach some level of sustainability?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely they can.
Great. Acha, now coming to one more important question. Bombay as a city ना यार बहुत डराता है लोगों को. मतलब you guys have had the guts to kind of tackle it. Not everyone has it. बहुत लोगों के पास talent और passion बहुत doses और बहुत amount में है, but Bombay as a city बहुत बड़ी और डरावनी लगती है. तो सवाल ये कि how does a new assistant director who does not have a portfolio to show land his or her first gig?
See, for me, it was a very different kind of an entry into the industry. I honestly, because I had a reference point, I had a person to go and a person to contact with. I didn't have to struggle a lot to get into the industry. I didn't have to, think of the fact that Bombay आने के बाद मैं कहाँ जाऊँगा, किससे मिलूँगा, क्या करूँगा, because I had a reference point before. And मुझे उतनी struggle नहीं करनी पड़ती, but my struggle was more to do with sustaining that. कि एक बार इंडस्ट्री में आ गए, उसके बाद आपको वहाँ पे sustain करना है, and you have to prove your worth. For me, it was the fight was more to be there and prove my worth rather than to struggle enough to get into the industry. And Bombay as a city, it is hard to live, and that's what I tell a lot of people. See, patience will take you to a lot of places. If you have patience in Bombay, especially, be it assistant, be it any kind of a job you want to get into the industry, which is part of the industry, because the industry is very uncertain. Job की आज shoot है, कल नहीं है, परसों है, फिर एक हफ्ता नहीं है. Sometimes you're working 22 hours a day. Sometimes you're not working at all. But you just have to be very, very patient to to exactly know how to keep yourself sane in those times.
Yeah, if I have to speak about my journey, I actually, so the day I quit my corporate job, and it was random, and it was in 20 days after college, I told my mother that I want to go to Bombay and I want to get a job. So she gave me a 10-day period, and she said, I give you 10 days. And in those 10 days, if you don't get a respectable job, because for her, Bombay is a scary place, and I'm a 21-year-old, and she has 20 things in her head, and she's scared for me. So she gave me 10 days, and she said, you must get a respectable job. So I said, okay, cool. So I packed my bags, I booked my ticket, I went to Bombay, I stayed at a friend's place. And I literally had like a massive list from Google. I listed down every production house, big to small. And there were ad agencies there and ad production houses. I did not know how ads were made. I did not know jack. I just had my theater resume thinking that would be enough to get me a job. So 10 days, I would wake up in the morning, get dressed and sit in a rickshaw and just go from production house to production house. Three of the biggest production houses threw me out. Me and their guards had a very massive fight. and they were like निकलो 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 and I'm like नहीं मुझे actor नहीं बनना है मुझे ये नहीं बनना है मुझे मजदूरी करनी है मुझे ले लो मुझे please दे दो तो वो तब भी नहीं ले रहे थे यार so they were not even interested to do मजदूरी so they were not so they were really rude but some people I found some to give you all hope I found some lovely people and you know nobody entertains like a walk-in person some people appreciated my guts and my courage to do what I was doing at you know at such a young age.
So what is it that production houses look for before hiring an AD? Is it an experience thing? Is it an attitude thing? What are like the parameters, so to speak?
Okay, you know we've taken a lot of interviews and mostly they are fun because you get to meet a lot of people and it's don't oversell yourself and don't say कि मैं जान दे दूंगा या मैं कुछ भी कर दूंगा and you know I because people do that because you know they don't know how else to firstly when you get an interview it's a big deal in itself because somebody's called you looking at your resume or somebody's called you because somebody's recommended you.
It depends on the vacancy also, like how a corporate works. When there's a vacancy, they will look into their database to see if there's a particular this person is capable of doing this job or is he eligible or does he fix this particular role. But जब नहीं होता तो ये नहीं है what she said कि जबरदस्ती oversell मत करो अपने आपको बार-बार चीजें कर करके. Also when they come to me, I personally when I meet them people, I look for positive, I look for energy.
Yeah, and you have to realize that you're not coming here to make a film. You're coming here to work as an AD. So don't be too idealistic saying, I like, you know, a certain kind of cinema and this is my zone and Christopher Nolan and all of that. Like, nobody cares. Like, nobody cares what you want to do with what, you know, your life. So just don't be idealistic and don't like try to oversell yourself.
You will find few people though on a set who will be like, oh yeah, let's talk about that thing, that, you know, over intellectual discussions, but that's not the case to grow as an assistant director. The main point is to observe, learn, and then apply.
Understood. A sense that I get from, you know, the job profiles that you're talking about is that it's a fairly stressful job. Well, how do you take care of fitness? How do you stay fit, be it physically, mentally? Matlab, I'm sure उन सब चीजों पे impact आता होगा. How do we stay fit?
I think it's very important to stay mentally fit more than physically fit because you on a set you're running all the time, so that workouts taken care of. Yeah, but I think mentally is what most people don't realize, and personally even I did not realize for a very, very long time how it was affecting me and my mental health. And certain people tend to get very anxious, certain people tend to get very depressed. But you know, if you keep telling yourself mentally that it's okay, you know, it's okay to make a mistake and it doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're a bad worker. And it's okay to be yelled at because you're getting yelled at in front of 400 people. Like in a corporate job or in a different kind of scenario, you're getting yelled at in a cabin and nobody probably knows.
Or on mail.
But on a set, you are ripped off and humiliated in front of 400 people, from your spot guys to your lighting guys to your art guys to your main lead actor, and you know you just feel like there's blood rushing up, and every time somebody yells at me, I have like my cheeks go red like tomato, so everybody knows that, you know, she's not okay. So I cried, and then the second time I cried, but I cried lesser, and the third time I cried like one drop. And after that, I became like a moti chambadi or, you know, whatever. Like, but, you know, it's just all of that. But yes, mental health is very, very, very important because I have seen a lot of people not being able to take it. And their dreams have gone into dustbins and they've gone back home.
Like Jiya said, you have to be mentally very, very strong to handle the stress, to be able to deal with it in an elegant way and come out of it. Just come out of it and do the thing which was supposed to be done, for which you were yelled at, or for any other reason. You have to get it done.
So Jiya, we want to hear your glorious fuck up story. What has been your biggest fuck up on set?
Tell the one where you were like कि ये धरती फटे और मैं अंदर गिरूं.
The one you will never forget.
Okay, so the one that I'll never forget, you know, because it was such a genuine, honest mistake. Like, I didn't even know that I did it, but it happened and it cost forever and, you know, it cost bloody lakhs and lakhs of rupees.
But it was the most embarrassing, and because I knew the stakes were so high. So we were in London, and we were shooting. We got this palace, and it's called the Blenheim Palace, and we'd only got it for like one day to shoot, and we had like a ton of things to shoot that day, and our producer didn't give us another day with it. And we had the lead actor, and he had 6 costume changes back to back, and it was an action chase, and he was running, and it was a hectic day. There was a drone in the air. There were 400 juniors. They had to get ready, so it was just like everything was like, and we knew, like we woke up in the morning at 2 a.m. and we knew that today is one hectic day and we have to give it our all. So we did like a team huddle meeting. We traveled 2.5 hours from our hotels. We reached there at 5 o'clock. We had Red Bulls, and we like, today is the day. And it was like a whole like chakde spiel, full spirit, ki aaj ka din to nikalenge, and all of that. And I was rocking it. Like I was getting the juniors, I was getting everybody ready, and everything was smooth. The day was about to get over. We'd almost got whatever we wanted in the bag. And suddenly my director asks for a certain scene ka costume. And because, you can't travel with all the costumes of the film, because you have to ration it out, because that is expensive. So I didn't even bring it to London. So, and it was never, I didn't know that it was supposed to be shot there. And the actor's like, okay, and the actor is so cooperative that day. He's changing on set, like he's removing clothes and fat ho raha hai sab kuch. And he's like, okay, Jiya, get me the costume. And I'm just looking at him and like, what costume? And
costume fuck-ups.
Time slowed down. And that blood rush that I was talking about, that started coming up. And it's real. I swear to God, it's real. My knees started shaking. I started shaking everybody. 400 people.
Did you get those flashes when you're like, जब पूछा कि वो costume का annualize, वो तो 7,000 miles away, and you're like, boom, 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 boom.
I know, it was exactly like that. Or, and I'm frozen, and everybody's looking at me because I mostly don't fuck up. So though people don't expect me to fuck up, so they're just looking at me and saying, what? Like, why is she not reacting? What happened to her? And I'm just like, but that's in India, Mumbai. So he's like, everybody's looking at me in disbelief. And then my director lost his shit. What the fuck do you mean it's in Mumbai? You don't want me to shoot this. We are in fucking Blenheim. It's 80 lakhs per day. This fucking location, and I can't shoot what I want. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is Datti Phate aur main sama jaun. Matlab,
Yeah.
Moments are, what was that one experience where you were like कि यही देखने के
गंगा नहाली
दिन के लिए मैं इस इंडस्ट्री में आए हैं. नमन,
बड़े मेलोड्रामेटिक हो तुम. धरती फटे में समा जाओ और गंगा नहाली, मतलब ये कैसे शब्द है यार ये?
Yeah, see, I'll let you, there have been like 2 incidents for me, which I like. गंगा नहाली मतलब मुझे लगा कि हाँ, इंडस्ट्री में मेरा एक क्या कहते हैं, entry into the industry सफल हुई. Is when it's just say just 4 people, which is Shahrukh, me, and 2 other ADs. We are in a pool chilling. There's nice sunrise happening, and Shahrukh is talking to us in the most charming way possible. And he's just being very like a buddy vibe. Like it just didn't feel that he is Shahrukh Khan, the Shahrukh Khan. We felt like he's one of the buddies जिसके साथ हम रोज बैठ के कॉफी पीते हैं, सीढ़ी में जाके और वो बातें करता है. So he made it so comfortable.
Naman,
That I just didn't realize.
Naman, I hate you.
Yes. Wait for the second one. No, this is for Shahrukh. Wait for the second one for the guys coming. Yeah. So this is one of the instances which मुझे लगा कि मतलब शाहरुख खान मेरा दोस्त है.
अरे.
Then the second incident happened. It's probably when this is at 11:30 in the night. I'm at my home. I'm having mutton. My मासी made mutton for me. तो आराम से mutton खा रहा हूँ. 5 उंगलियां घी में डूबी हुई हैं. आराम से mutton खा रहे हैं. And my phone rings and mutton वाले हाथों को ऐसे टिश्यू से पोंछ पाछ के मैंने कहा फोन कैसे उठाऊं? वो नहीं अलग ऐसे उंगली से आप उठाते हो फोन. ऐसे करना पड़ता है आपको. You just pick up the phone and I say hello. I said an unknown number. I like hello. And there was a female voice there, and she's like, "Hi, Baba, you're coming out tomorrow." I'm like, what? 11:30 in the night, someone is telling me you're coming out tomorrow. What is it? I said, sorry. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, sorry. He's like, yeah, Katrina this side. I was like, Katrina? Who's Katrina? Like, how Katrina?
Yeah.
I mean, you will never connect the Katrina to Katrina.
Yeah.
Naman.
Yeah.
I hate you too.
I told you one for the guys also. One for the guys also. So like, so then she's like, yeah, Baba, you're coming out tomorrow. I'm like, sorry. And she's like, yeah, Katrina this side. So it took me good 15 seconds to realize that this Katrina is Katrina Cash. And she's calling you for, and she's calling me, coming to, I'm like, yeah, Katrina. And I had no clue. Like, उस time पे ऐसा हो गया, मटन गया अंदर, सब अंदर घुस गया, सारी चीजें, like, कहाँ, किसके लिए? And I'm like, yeah, I'll come. Yeah, she's like, okay, just come and get the team also. I'm like, okay. I cut the phone and I'm like, कहाँ, क्या हुआ क्या ये? What just happened? Next second, like within the next 2 seconds, I get a message from a manager and Katrina both on WhatsApp saying she invited us for a Christmas party to her house.
Jiya, when was this? When was your moment of realization?
Honestly, I don't know if I had that feeling that I've reached somewhere with anything that has happened in my life, because I don't know where I want to go, firstly. So I don't know what that means, but every single time when I used to, with theatre go to Bombay to perform in IIT Bhardwaj, it was like a mandir for me and my friends, Akshay included. So we used to go to the temple, and it was a given thing that we have to go take matha outside the temple because he was our inspiration.
And it had to be a late night thing.
Yeah, he was our inspiration, our everything, and every single day. If we were in Bombay for 4 days or 5 days, every night we had to. So we would go to Bandra and we would sit outside his house and just look at it. And we would talk ke, ab kabhi to bahar aayega, ek baar to bahar aayega. And we would just like sit and joke around. Acha gaadi hai ki nahi? Bahar gaye hain bhai. And it's like he was just this man. I have grown up watching him. I've grown up admiring him, and the reason I do what I do is because of him. And he inspires in so many more ways than one. And I was a fan, but after I worked with him, I'm so glad I did, because it just increased my, my liking for him. And I just can't believe the kind of person he is. And he's so wonderful. And somewhere in my heart, I was scared before I was working with him. I was just like, I hope he's a good guy. My dreams shouldn't be shattered. And, he can't be disaster. I was so scared because I didn't want to lose, the love of my life. And
also, you don't want that image to get tinted.
Yeah. But then it was just so much more, like my love for him just increased manifold. And anybody who works with him will agree with what I'm saying. And the film that we shot there was a scene in the film that was supposed to be shot inside Mannat. And
oh wow.
And I went inside it, and it was, I couldn't believe it. I actually never thought about going into Mannat. I've just looked at it and admired it. Nobody thinks about going inside Mannat because it's not possible, right? You cannot go inside that house. But then the unthinkable happened. And, I turned around and I saw my younger college self sitting outside his house. And, it was so filmy and so dramatic. And my mind works like that because, whatever. But I saw myself sitting like that, and, and that is the day I came back home. And, I entered his house, and, there was lavish food again. That day I didn't eat because I was so overwhelmed with whatever was going on. And then, I realized that it was such a domesticated space. Like, it was just like any other house. And, there were people, and there was a family, and there were things going on, and there was regular bickering going on. It was so normal. It was so regular. And then the first time I went into Mannat, then it was no stopping. That man just kept hosting mega parties at Mannat, and we kept getting invited for them. And then where he comes out in the whole Jali thing and says hi to everybody. So what happens in a film is you usually sort of, for camera position and all, like the jib was kept there. So you have to stand for an actor and, help just stand in. So there were regular people there, and we'd had some juniors who were acting like, it was they've come, and I went and stood where he usually stands for the camera, and I stood
You
where
the
Shah Rukh Khan stands, and
Oh, wow.
and I was just like, what? This is magical. What is even going on? And this is again the unthinkable. I never thought I will be standing there and doing that. And it's all make believe, and it's all play, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that people have come for me. Just the fact that I could do exactly what he does and be in his house, I am truly, truly, truly grateful that the magic has happened in my life, and I can now retire. Like, I'm done.
Wow.
I can peacefully retire. Ho gaya mera.
I think this also, I think more than anything else, this I think is a perfect way for us to, end this.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for
Thank you, guys.
taking out time from your very, very,
See you
busy.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.